vendor before we know it.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're at a level and even and not crooked, because crooked was driving me crazy. It's like, I know, I mean, it's like, and some people, like, they just can't, like it's a thing, you know, so it's all good. We had a student a couple years ago that had a paper issue, but we teach at a virtual school, so it was okay, but like, he could not do paper, like, it just made him creeped out. It was the weirdest thing, yeah, so, but at our virtual school it was really good, because we handled that, it was okay, but in the brick and mortar school, there was paper everywhere, and it freaked him out, and do you remember that? Were you there when we had him?
I don't know if
He had
I
a
have.
paper issue. Like, just paper, like the feel of it, the sound of it, just grossed him out beyond imagination.
Sensory deprivation.
Mm-hmm. We have a few minutes, so we'll wait. Don't get too bored, Eric.
Good.
Good morning. Thank you for coming on down. That's so awesome. When I saw it was going to be in this room and when the opening, I was like, oh, I don't want to be in one of those little tiny rooms. It feels like, you know, we're just chatting, you know, but it was like, surely, like, they had other stuff going on. I'm like, so it's going to be 6 people in this big giant room. We'll just make it work. It's all, but fiscally it makes sense, because if they've rented the space the whole day and a half, they should use it the whole day and a half.
Plus it has the chairs.
Yes.
And they are comfier chairs. That is true. That is true.
As long as they're high enough.
And they will already have seats for the ending at 11, so that seat benefit all the way around. Absolutely. Okay. No, do I need to wait until 11 o'clock, or should I go ahead and start, or
I mean, 10 o'clock.
just a few more minutes? Okay. I thought they would be in the room chatting. I just wanted to find out. I should wait. I have 10 o'clock, so I'll start, and whoever comes in, they can just come in and join us. I am going to share with you all today some information that I've kind of gathered over the years, and it really just supports my educational philosophy that I've had for a long, long time. And it excited me as I grew to learn about all of this, that research supports what I've always thought and felt and told my students. And so it was like, hey, it's not just me, this is real, and it has meaning and purpose, and there's science behind it. So it excited me. So I have an answer to a question that any teacher, and I don't know in the collegiate level if you get the why do we need to know this, what's the point, do y'all get that in the, does the college student say, okay, and as a new teacher, I didn't know how to answer that. And it bothered me. And I thought that they were right for asking the question of what's the point, why do I need to know this? So I'm teaching conic sections to a group of kids who hates conic sections. I was probably doing the worst job I'd ever done at explaining anything ever. And I'm like, why do they need to know this? You know, and so over the years, I hated being asked that question. And so what I'm going to share with you today is kind of some things to think about when you get asked that, because I don't think any educator can be an educator for any amount of time and not have somebody ask that. We even get our parents asking, like, what's the point? My kid never needs this. So it's not just coming from the students. It's a societal question. If there's not purpose and meaning in what you're asking me to do, why do I need to do it? And I think that they deserve a good answer. And when you give it to them, they're usually, it's like, oh, well, that's true. And then they'll do what you ask them to do. So it's kind of cool to have something that I can say. So go ahead and pick. My name is Carmen Long, and this is a little really fast bio about me, but I teach at Georgia Connections Academy. We're a K-12 school. We're a public charter virtual school. We have students all across the state. My colleague is with me, Erin, and she's helping me with the audio stuff. So, you know, I have been in lots of different educational platforms. This question always comes up in private school and public school. I've taught summer school, I've homeschooled my own children, I developed homeschool programs, and even from that environment where the parent is hands-on doing the curriculum with their student, I still got the, what's the point, why do we need to do this? And I'm like, you know, are you kidding me? So in all of the environments that I have been in, that's not something that you ever get away from. And it's nice for me to know even in the collegiate level you get that question. So I can expand that even to them using y'all's experience. So that's a little bit about me. And I've been a virtual teacher since 2006. And I've taught in all of the virtual schools in Georgia except for the one that's provost, and there's some private and county-wide ones that I haven't taught for. So I love virtual education. It doesn't work for everybody. And there is a lot of people that are very negative about it. And I think that sometimes we're negative about the things that we don't understand because we have a preconceived notion of what it's about. It doesn't work for every teacher and it doesn't work for every student, but no educational platform works for every teacher and every student. So I think that it's great in our state that we have choice, and I appreciate the fact that some of my students choose us and it works for them. And then we work with those students that doesn't work for to help them develop those skills, and if they can't, then we have that conversation with them. Is this really the best educational platform for you? You have to make that decision. So that's a little bit about me. So let's get on to why the answer. Okay, so Ms. Long, and they're very respectful. They don't mean to be rude. Like, what is the point? Why do I need to know this? What are some answers that you sometimes have given? Because I'm the adult. What else? I mean, we have to answer them. What do we say? The DOE tells me I have to show you this and you have to show proficiency. It's on the standards. It's on the state test. It's mandated. Whatever it is. So go ahead and click again. So some of the answers we give are, you know, you'll need it for the next course. You know, and that is true. It's not an untrue statement, but is that motivating to students? Not typically. They're like, yeah, that's tomorrow, that's not today, that's not right now, that's not anything that's meaningful to me. So, you know, I'm the teacher, I'm the adult. I've said this, I earned a degree, you are in my classroom, and you know, I would get mad about it because I didn't have a good answer. And none of them are good. None of those are meaningful to students, and none of them are motivating to students. So why would we answer this way? Because that's the only thing we know. Like, why do we do what we do? Is it so they learn Shakespeare? Is it so they can recite what's on the periodic table? Is it so that they know the map of South America? Does any of that really matter in their day-to-day life once they graduate high school? Or college? My daughter has a college degree in performance arts. You know, what? So anyway, so here's my answer. Go on. Because you have to be able to think to succeed. In school, we use a toolbox to help you learn to use the math between your ears. We're using Shakespeare and the periodic table, how to factor. Are any of those tools important? No, not necessarily, but how you use the tool. How are you going to engage the math between your ears to accomplish the things that you are going to have to accomplish? How are you going to read the manual to put your child's swing set together when it doesn't make sense and there's no words and it's all pictures and you have a pile of stuff and you have this manual and you've never put a swing set together? How are you going to figure out how to do that? Or are you going to just leave your child crying because their swing set's a pile of stuff? No. You're going to look through the manual, you're going to use the mind between your ears, and you're going to figure out what the directions are and you're going to follow the steps. And hopefully, when you're done, you don't have any extra parts. If you did it well. You're going to have a stove break and not have the money to fix it. You're going to have to figure out a budget and go to the grocery store with $10 and buy a week's worth of groceries for your family. That is real. How are you going to do that if you never develop the skill to use the brain in between your ears? It's a muscle. And in school, we just use the tools of academia for you to develop that skill. The way you use your brain is different than the way I use my brain. What you have to do to remember something is different than what I have to do to remember something. So we're going to use Shakespeare. We're going to use what happened in 1872 in Europe. Who cares? But can I learn to remember something and make connections about something so that in my life, when I do come across things, I will know how to do what I need to do in my brain to accomplish that task. So when I share my answer with students and parents, I have never gotten I disagree with you, Ms. Long. Ever. Not one time. And I've been sharing this answer for about 15 years. It's developed. It's been expanded. You can go ahead and click. So these are the, and I'll say to students, ask somebody that you respect that's an adult. Ask them if they've had to do some of these hard things. Now, did they learn how to do a budget in school? Maybe if they took an econ class, maybe if they did something. Did they learn how to communicate well? I mean, in what job do we not have to know how to capitalize a sentence and communicate in written expression? So, okay, you don't have to write a research paper, but you had to write an email to the corporate CEO of your company or put a presentation together for a sales meeting, and you don't know how to do something grammatically correct. You look ignorant because you didn't learn how to use the brain in your head to accomplish the task you need to accomplish. I tell them, ask a parent that you understand and you trust, did they ever get asked to do something in their job that was not in their job description? Like, who hasn't ever been? Like, it's not my job to do that, but my boss is telling me that this is what I expect you to do. I don't know how to do it. I have to go figure it out. And if we never develop the muscle in our brain, then we're not going to be able to succeed in the things that we do have to do. And it may not be factoring, and it may not be conic sections, and it may not be how to do a science write-up, or how to, I don't know, what's in the Constitution. It may not be any of those things, but you are going to need the skills that you used to do those things to accomplish the things that will come up. And that's my answer. Do you think your students would maybe be a little more motivated if they had a good answer? So you're welcome to use my answer. It is not copyrighted. It is just something that I had to figure out a way to explain to my students because I hated not having an answer that was meaningful to them. They deserved to know why. And they're more motivated when they know why. Okay, what do I have next? Academics is just the tool. It's just the tool. All right, so go to the next one. Now this is where the research comes in. So I've developed that, I believe that with all my heart. And so as I'm working on my master's degree in instructional technology, I had to do research, and I didn't think I could do research, and I had to write, and I didn't think I could write, but eventually I ran into this. Go ahead. And Angela Duckworth, and I was watching something or doing some research, and she was talking about grit. I'm like, that's what I've been telling my kids all these years. You got to dig in. And it excited me to the point that I was like flabbergasted that there was a scientist that did all this years of research to show that the IQ scores don't indicate success, and that the state test scores don't indicate success. They are not good indicators. And they did all of this awesome research. I didn't do it. I don't take claim for it. I just found it, and it excited me. So what is the best indication? And they looked in collegiate stuff. They looked in like the Navy SEALs. They looked in high schools. They did all of these grit. Like, what can a teacher look at for a student to determine who's going to be successful and who is not going to be successful? And none of those things, none of those numbers, none of those scores, none of the things that we look at as educators, the pretest, it didn't matter. What mattered was the students that had the perseverance to push through and to reach their goals. I'm like, that's what I told my kids. I'm a very unintelligent person. I don't have a natural ability to learn and understand. I have to work. I had to work in high school. I did well, but I worked harder than anybody else. In college, in my undergraduate degree, I have a degree in mathematics and computer science, which, how did I do that? I worked hard. Oh my gosh, I worked so hard. But I didn't because I wasn't willing to quit. And I wasn't willing to say I can't. And I didn't use the fact that I'm not that intelligent by nature, but I was willing to outwork anybody. So this excited me because it described me. And then when I decided, okay, I want to do my master's, I'm 46 years old or 44, however old I was. I don't know how to write. I only know how to do math problems. How in the world am I going to do this? I'm going to do it one day at a time. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to work harder than anybody else. I'm going to get those papers done. I'm going to figure out how to write. And lo and behold, I can write. It was exciting. So Angela Duckworth's research kind of drove me into something that I watched or read was like, and so the question is, how do we develop that perseverance in students? And she's like, I don't know. So then we have the next thing, Carol Dweck's research. And it connects because Carol Dweck's research shows, not mine, I didn't do it, I just found it and read it and got excited, that there is science that's going on in the brain when students and people do hard tasks. That if they'll do and persevere and push through and not give up easy, the dendrites in the brain actually grow. You can make yourself smarter by doing hard things. Now you tell a student that, and you show them the research about that. Now your answer to why am I doing this has some scientific, so you think you're not the smartest kid? I get it. I wasn't the smartest kid. I'm still not the smartest. But I work hard. And can you feel your brain growing? And that's something I say to my students. Do you feel it? Is it hard? Are you growing? And that's the important thing. Are you making your brain develop so that you can do those hard tasks in life that we're using the academics to build your toolbox to build your brain? And it's so connected. And as I learned about all this, it was so exciting because way back in the 90s when I got my undergrad degree and started teaching and started going, why am I teaching these kids this stuff? I now have something that says, yes, what you're telling kids is true. It's scientifically based. And it is honestly true, not just what you think. And it's something you can tell them to get them to quit whining, So it was really exciting. So, none of this is my research, and I am humbled to have been chosen because most of y'all are PhDs and y'all teach in college. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? But I'm like, but that doesn't mean I can't learn, and it doesn't mean that I don't have something that I can share with teachers that are coming into the profession, because if somebody had helped me understand that when I started, how many kids did I say, because it's on the test, that I didn't inspire to develop their brain because I didn't have a good answer? And I just got mad when they asked that. And I wasn't mad at them. I was mad because I didn't know what to tell them. And now that I'm who I am today, I would love to go back to those students and apologize because I didn't know how. You were right to ask the question. And it was meaningful for you to be saying, if I can find meaning in this, I'll put my energy into it. And I didn't help you develop the meaning. And that's a fault that I have. So if we can help these teachers coming into the profession, perhaps when they get that question, because we know they'll get it, they won't be as frustrated because they'll have an idea or an inkling of the answer. Now, it won't be their own development of it. I'm pretty passionate about it because I've developed it over the years, but feel free to share. Okay, what else is next? So this is a picture. I did not make this picture. I got it. I was really excited about the site that I found it off of because I have this other thing I want to do, and they do funding for not-for-profits that do what I want to do, but it's in the UK. So I was like, man, but I still used their picture because it was a good picture. So the idea behind growth mindset is not just to give kids hard things, not just to make them work hard, but it's what are they going to do with a failure? Are they going to quit? Are they going to give up? Carol Dweck's research shows that students that are gifted and things always come easy, they tend to give up very easy. Because when they get to the hard thing, they think, now I'm not smart anymore. Because smart equals easy. But the kids that have to work at every single thing, you give them a hard task, they're used to working hard. They expect it to be hard. So these are some different things to think about. If you're talking about a fixed mindset, I am as smart as I'm going to be. If I can do it, I can do it, and if I can't, I can't. And that's the wrong approach. And it's not about just try hard. It's about don't give up, learn from your mistake, grow from your mistake, and take that hard task on head on and move forward with it. Get that brain to grow. And that's how we're going to do it. Y'all all can read, so I'm not going to read all those to you. All right, go to the next one. Now, so what does this look like in the classroom? when I was looking at the presentation criteria, it was like show research, you know, show how what is it going to do? What is it going to look like? So I kind of in my brain thought, okay, how can I share this if I got the opportunity to share it? What could I tell someone that was a teacher? Like, so what does that look like classroom-wise? Because this is kind of general at this point. So this is some things that I thought of. Go ahead and click out this. So it has only been 15 minutes. Oh my goodness, I thought I've been talking forever. Okay, fixed mindset. I've never been good at whatever. And my mom's not good at it. My dad's not good at it. My grandparents aren't good at it. Now, I teach math. They think it's genetic. It's not. But well, my mom can't ever do it. Nobody in my family can do math. Nobody can do math. So nobody's ever going to graduate from high school because nobody can do 2 + 2. Whatever. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. And then I educate them on what I know to be true. And we have the nice long conversation about that. And I'm like, okay, now go do it. It's too hard. I can't do this, Miss Long. It's just too hard. I can't imagine being in college and going to a college professor and say this is just too hard. Do y'all get that? Who's the college professor? Do y'all get that? Really? Like, you're paying tuition to do this hard thing, and you're going to go to your professor and go, this is too hard, I can't do it. That boggles my brain, but okay, so that even applies in college. Okay, so why? That's a question we've already talked about. What's the point? Why do I need to do this? What's the point? It's not easy enough. I need something easier. I get that a lot. Can you make this test easier? Can you drop some of these questions? I know, that sounds crazy. It has a fraction in it, Miss Long. I can't do fractions. I teach 11th and 12th graders. Okay. Why bother? I'm going to fail anyway. Do you have the kid that knows that they're going to fail? Like, why will I even try? I'm just going to Christmas tree it because I'm going to fail anyway. What's the point? Like, that breaks my heart. That hurts me. Deep heart. Okay, this is an impossible task. It's not solvable. Well, I'll never be able to graduate. But, you have students that are in generational dropout. Like, everybody in their family's dropped out. It's just expected. Nobody can finish high school. It's an impossible situation, and we're all just dropouts. And it's okay. And it's socially for them, there's not a negative there. We know that the statistics behind students that drop out are detrimental to their life. We know that as educators. We got to get them through high school. But we can't give it to them because we got kids that can't read that have a high school graduate, have graduated from high school. That's not acceptable. So we got to bridge that gap. But we got to get them to quit thinking that they can't do it because they can do it. I'm not important. The kid that sits in the back that doesn't ever talk, that won't ever engage in the conversation, goes home, probably has the same kind of attitude. Nobody cares if I graduate. Nobody cares if I know how to do this. You got to show them that you care about them. I get on the phone a lot of times with kids. I leave so many messages. Now, we're virtual, so I don't see my kids face-to-face always. Like, Miss Long, why do you keep calling me? I'm not going to do this. I'm like, because I believe you can do it. And I believe if I call you enough times, and I talk to you enough, and I help you see the potential that you have, and the importance of graduating high school enough, that you're going to see that spark in yourself, and you're going to try. Because until you can try, I can't help you. I got to get you to try. So that I'm not important. I've never been smart. Nobody in my family's smart, and I don't have any reason. I'm going to be a painter with my dad. I don't need school. So I go to the next side. So the other side is the growth mindset side, and I try to parallel. Like, so what does that look like in the classroom? Maybe I just need to practice this some more. So it is hard, and okay, you can't do it yet, but can you do the first step? Can you do the second step? Are you getting stuck at the bottom of it? Where in that process is happening? I may not get it yet, but I'm not going to stop until I figure this out. Now, we struggle with getting our students to practice enough. They just want to click, get through the quiz. I didn't do it so bad on that quiz, I didn't understand anything. Oh, do you think you magically are just going to have information pop into your brain without any effort? No. But they do think that because they keep doing that. So we have to help them understand you've got to practice. It's hard. I know it's hard, but I feel my brain growing. We talk about brain growing in my live lessons. We do have some synchronous sessions with our students, so they come in and they're like, oh, Miss Long, I know, our brain's growing, we get, they kind of start to make a joke out of it after a while. And I give them hard stuff. Like, this one's hard, y'all, and I warn them, it's hard. You can do this. Let's work on it together. Let's work on it in groups. What can you get? Maybe you won't get the answer, but are you going to be able to talk about it? Are you going to be able to move your knowledge forward? That kind of thing. I need help, but I'm going to eventually get it. That's something that you can talk about. I like the last one. Success is going to occur because I am not going to stop until I accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. And if I can get my students to grab a hold of that, post it all over their wall, and remember that success is not today or tomorrow or the next day. It's not immediate. It's way out the door. But I got to get there step at a time. But I'm going to get there, and it may take me longer than anybody else. And I may have to do more work than anybody else. And I may have to ask more questions than anybody else. And I may have to review material more than anybody else. But I'm going to get there because I'm not going to stop. And you don't fail till you quit. And I think that that's something that the give up easy. I was in a session and somebody talked about, the creativity is gone because we give them a project, they go to Pinterest, they just copy. They don't have that endurance that they're building up because everything is immediate. They want immediate answers, immediate results, immediate. And learning's not immediate. And brain growth is not immediate. It takes time. All right, go to the next one. All right, so this is a story. Jada. Now, I have tons of stories about students, and as we all do. We all have those nuggets that just are never going to leave our brain. They're our motivation for doing what we do. Jada is a sweet girl. I've been at the school that I'm at. This is my 5th year, and she did not graduate on time. And she did not graduate on time because of my class. She and I worked closely. She gave up. She took Algebra 2B. She went ahead and took her 4th year math. It was the non-college prep 4th year math, but she went ahead and did that and got through that. Her first year with us, she was in Algebra 2A and failed it. Got her through it the second time. It was a little easier. Algebra 2B is harder. It pushes them a little bit more. And the first time through, she failed. She quit. She quit trying. Miss Long, I just had to get my other classes done. I know I'm going to take it over. It's okay. The next year, she took her 4th math and didn't take Algebra 2B. So I kind of lost touch with her. She was back. She was back in Algebra 2B the next year. I'm like, Jada, what in the world? You were supposed to graduate. She goes, yeah, I got to take that Algebra 2B. She had 1 class. Now, in our environment, they can take just the class they need to graduate if they've passed the graduation cohort year. So she was just taking Algebra 2B. All semester long. As long as it's too hard, Jay. It's not too hard. And we ended up in a conversation at one point. So we have developed this relationship over years. And she knows me, and I can be real with her. And I could tell on the days when I had to be gentle with her and soft and kind of encouraging, and the days that I could put my foot in her hiney and like, Jada, this is ridiculous. You have to stop. So this was a day that she was just, like, we got to the point we were trying to work a problem, and she just broke down. Miss Long, I just can't do anything. She's crying. And I'm saying, Jada, what is 2 plus 1? We're trying to do distribution. Very simple. Just look, it's just this times this. It's just 2 times 1. I just don't know. I can't do anything. And I said, okay, Jada, I need you to just put the pencil down. And we need to have a real honest conversation. You know what 2 plus 1 is. You have shut your brain. You have put a wall up to say, I know nothing. And that is a lie, and you need to quit believing it. And we had a really hard conversation about that day. And I hung up the phone and I thought, okay, I've either pushed her to drop out of high school, or I pushed her to get moved. And I didn't know. So I'm like, okay, how's she going to take it? And she did calm down, and she said, okay, and we finished working through the problem. You're right. And I said, Jada, you have a split personality going on here. I either talk to Jada, I can do this. Miss Long's my friend. We're in this together. Or I get this, Jada, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. This is an impossible situation. I'm never going to graduate high school because of the stupid half credit of math. And I said, I don't want that Jada around anymore. You got to put her in a jail cell or something because she is not going to help you accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish. She's not. You got to choose to let the Jada that's, I can do this. I know it's hard. I know Miss Long's with me. She's going to help me. I've got to do my best. I do know something. I am not unintelligent. That's the voice you need to listen to. And so she's like, you're right, you're so right. So we talked a couple days later, and she's like, Miss Long, and she was Miss Bubbly Jada again. And so she got through the class. She graduated. Thank you, Jesus. We got her through it. But she got herself through. And before she graduated, and before the end of that semester, our math team was doing the school-wide newsletter. We were talking about who's going to be our highlight student of the month. And it's usually the kid that's gotten awards or has awesome grades or got invited to some kind of STEM conference or, something really exciting. And I said to the math department, guys, could we highlight Jada? because our student population has a huge population of students who are off cohort, who are not looking like they're going to graduate. We have a graduation issue that is real. And we inherit a lot of students who the regular classroom is not working for them, so they come to us as a last resort. So I said, I know that this is not typically who we ask to be in our student highlight section. I said, but here's the story behind it. And so I kind of filled everybody in. And everybody's like, yes, we need to do that because that would be so encouraging to the other students that are off cohort. Let's do that. So I called Jada and said, Jada, you've been chosen to be a student highlight in our newsletter. And she was like, oh my God. Look, she had never had an academic accolade in any way or shape. And I said, Jada, and I want you, and so we had some specific questions, and she filled out the questionnaire, and we published it. And I said, I want you to think about how can you inspire other kids that have the Jada with the wall shut down? How could you encourage them to let the Jada that knows you can do it, that knows you have a brain in your head, to bubble up and be who's persevering in their mind? So what things can you say to help somebody else not drop out of high school? Because that's why we picked you. Because we got a lot of students like you. They need 1 credit. They need a half a credit. They're so close and they're ready to just give up. And so she wrote this really great. She responded to the questions. It was awesome. We got really great feedback. The students were saying, we always see the student highlight be somebody that I'm never going to be. And so they appreciated knowing that they all think they're the only one. At our school, they don't see we have 20-year-old kids that are at our school. They don't know that they're not the only 20-year-old kid. We got a lot of them. So they don't know that there's a lot of them. So when we posted that, we got a lot of feedback that was really inspiring and encouraging to some of those other kids that were off cohort. And so, go ahead and click the next thing. So that's Jada's story. And I have so many stories like that on those days that I feel like I'm not making a difference. And I feel like, why are these kids not doing anything? I think back to some of those. And I'm like, we are. 1 starfish at a time. If I can save 1. I helped Jada. She graduated. She moved on. She did some training. Now she's in a job. She is not a high school dropout. I have so many other students that I know are not a high school dropout. Their life is going to be better because I helped them turn that shut my brain off, I'm too stupid, I can't do this attitude off. And do I'm going to work really hard and it's not going to be easy, but it's okay because I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to quit till I do it kind of attitude. And so, do I get everyone to do that? No, I don't, but I try. And I save the ones I can. And I share this with as many people that are willing to listen to me. I know Erin has heard it 1,000 times and is probably sick of hearing about it because I talk about it all the time. All right, go to the next thing. Okay, so this was kind of a brainstorm thing, and I thought we'd probably have time for it. So thinking about those things, are there some things that, I'm not in a classroom. I don't see my students typically, but are there some things that you can think of? What could you do different with that sort of thinking in mind that you haven't done in the past? It's not a quiz.
One thing I was thinking, really point you to my success really different because I did stuff to accomplish it all. A lot of times we're handing out worksheets for practice during the class, and I know sometimes when I read things, it kind of hits at odd times. Just putting a little statement at the bottom of a worksheet for kids, and of course we work in elementary, but just putting at the bottom of a worksheet.
Absolutely.
And you never know what they see.
Right.
When they see it.
Right.
And it would just capture somebody at an odd moment.
Absolutely.
And you just see it when they really do want to give up, or they really don't get it, or if you don't get it, ask me.
Right. I'm here to help you. Right.
A reminder so that they know that you're in their ballpark. You got their back.
Right. I'm walking this walk with you. My daughter is math phobic, just terrified. And I homeschooled her for a long time, and then she went back to high school. And she was taking math, failed every test. She knew that content. We worked on it. She's a hard worker like I am. Worked. She failed the test. Worked. She knew the concepts. The teacher knew she knew the concepts because she was staying after school. And one day she came home with a test and she made an 80-something on it. She was so excited. But he had marked off tests and put fun practice. She knew it was a test.
I first ran across Carol Dweck many years ago, and her first research was learned helplessness.
Right.
And the getting to that mindset through success or failure makes you become that way. And one of the things I've learned over 40 years is that If you do this feedback loop many times to where you practice at low stakes, and then you perform at high stakes if you have to go there. I think all of our students do much better if we just give them a chance to practice for low stakes, and then when the time is right.
Right. Right, absolutely. That's when she clicked, you'll see that's one of the things I added. Yeah,
She's my hero.
yeah, absolutely.
Dawson and Doc, I've done my work with self-talk. And so
I talk about that, yeah.
we use this as they plan and talk to themselves. And I have a teacher next door to me that on a regular basis, the word "yet" is in your thing. When the kids say, I can't do it, she always makes them restate it and say, you mean you haven't done it yet?
Absolutely. And I tell my kids that too. You got to quit talking. Your brain will believe your mouth. It will. Your brain believes you. It thinks you're smart. And when you say you can't, oh, okay, we can't do that.
And I think too, I think we have to have crucial conversations with kids as well. And it's so easy as a person to blame someone else. And they need to have that student learning and owning their failure.
Yes.
And they're giving up. And
But
I
that's
think
societal, don't y'all think?
it
It's
is.
always somebody else's fault.
It is.
It's never my fault.
And they
Yeah.
have to have the mindset that they chose, and that's the operative word, to give up. And teachers have to remind the students that their job is to help them succeed and to have authenticity. And that day they chose to give up and that they're going to help them succeed. And if that means doing 1,001 times, like you said,
Yeah.
then they will do it 1,001 times and help them get there.
Right. What if you get it on the 1,002nd time?
Exactly.
Like, like you just quit, like it was right there, right there.
Exactly.
Right.
And what we will find are those success stories, because if you chase them the next day and the next day, and you say, bring it back to me,
Yeah.
and they're not going to like you for a couple of days, but by the fifth day, you're going to scream, oh, I'm pretty smart.
Yeah. And they're like, go me, go me. And you're like, post that on the refrigerator. Right.
But you have to understand, you have to brave the storm, because there's a rainbow at the end, and there has to be dark clouds.
And they don't understand. They need you to help them paddle that boat through that storm, right? I mean, they don't know that they're going to get to the end and the storm's going to end at some point. They don't know that. And they need us to help them share that. That's a really good.
It really is about students
Yeah.
and their own learning, but also owning that they can
Yeah,
and you're not going to let that happen.
right, right. And we got to not let that happen. Did you have something?
And what I was going to say was, I think also maybe trying to frame things in alternate ways to show us that they know it. And one example is, for those of us in Georgia and higher ed, we have to do students have to do the TPA. And what we consistently seem to see with students is we see them doing the stuff that they have to document that they do in the TPA. We see them doing it. They get stuck with explaining how they're doing it. So it's just, you're doing this. We are stuck on how the method of your telling somebody else how to do it. Right. So, if you have an alternate way to let a student show that they have the skill that they have.
Y'all can come on in. We're almost done. Right, absolutely. And it kind of makes me think about some students that they can do algebra, but then they get to geometry. Oh, I can't do a proof. All you're doing is explaining how you solve that equation. Like, why is that hard? So we're using that tool to help them get to that point so that they can do what they need to do for the college, so they can explain what they did. Yeah.
We do it with little kids all the time.
Yeah.
We use manipulatives to figure out how to do subtraction. We just forget that we have to keep doing that.
Right.
As we get to even adulthood.
Absolutely, absolutely.
By the time they get to college, in my experience, as they've come through this high-stakes testing situation where they hit the wall, they're so risk-averse by the time they get to college that everybody in the room can know the answer, but you'll not get a kick out of them because they don't want to
Yeah.
step
I
up.
had an experience Tuesday. I put all my kids in breakout rooms that said, this is what I need to work on. So y'all work on that together, y'all work on that together. And I had 7 kids in my room. They logged in for help. 20 minutes. I had a pod that they could just type to only me and I could only see it. I had a poll pod where they just had to click, I need help on this. And then I had a chat pod where they could type and tell everybody something. 7 kids sat there for 20 minutes and would not respond to me. I want to help you. I know you're here because you need help. What is your question? Put it in this pod and only I'll see it. I will not embarrass you. I'll call you after the session. I need to know, why did you come today? and I can't see your eyes. So it's so interesting that they even do that. Like if I can look at you and they still do, like they got to learn to communicate. That's a skill that they're going to use for life, you know? So that's why we do what we do. Click the next thing. And I think all of y'all said this, but I think the learn from mistakes without penalty of a grade. They're so afraid of failure because my GPA is so important, as long as I won't be able to go to college. My mom's going to ground me for a month if I don't raise my grade up. So if they never have the opportunity to fail without hurting their grade, they're terrified to make a mistake. So if I just don't do anything, I can't do that because I'm going to fail. You know, they've got to have the opportunity. I think you had shared that they got to have the opportunity to work to that point that they can do the test. So area analysis is something I work on my kids with a lot, because at the older student, it's like, okay, why did you make that? Well, okay, first you got to find a mistake. Why is it wrong? How do you fix it? Because that's that growth part. Like, let's learn from our mistakes. And how are you going to learn from a mistake if you can't find your mistake? Like, if you're just like, oh, I was wrong, and then you move on, you didn't grow from that. You didn't develop what was happening there. We struggle with that in math because kids don't want to write anything down. Like, so they don't remember what they were thinking. I don't know, I just picked B. Like, well, you know, or I don't know, I just thought it was that. Like, we got to write it down so we can have a conversation about what was wrong so you can fix that. So when I'm in my live sessions with students, I'll put a problem up, all right, guys, put your pencils down. This is a wrong answer. This is wrong. Do not write it down. Why is it wrong? Find the error. And so it's not your error, it's nothing personal, it's Miss Long's error. I am presenting you a problem with an error. Let's together figure out what the error is. And so I feel like if we can model for them how to make those mistakes and how to grow from that without it counting as a grade, without it even being personal. This isn't Johnny's error or Susie's error or student C's error. It's just an error. It's something that I see all the time. Students tend to make this error. So let's talk about it. Let's open the package. Why is it wrong? How can we remember that this is not the right way? How can we think about it in the right way? What is the conversation? What is the vocabulary around that is causing the confusion? And it's interesting that, you know, my 7 kids that won't respond probably don't respond, but they listen. And they listen to the conversation. And if they came, they're probably having that same problem. And at least they're getting something from the conversation. And then the kids that are conversing with me, it's interesting. Oh, I've done that before. I'm like, I know, me too. You know, so it's and when they see other kids that, oh yeah, I've done that too, then all of a sudden it's not just me. This is something that lots of people get confused about. So then their self-talk changes a little bit. Like, everybody does that sometimes? Oh my goodness. So it opens that ability to realize, you know, they're narcissistic. They think it's all about them. They think they're the only one, and they're not. And if they can start to see that they're not the only one, then we start to free up their ability to learn to make the mistake so that they can learn from the mistake. So I do a lot of their analysis. And I like the thing with no right answer. That frustrates students. They want to know the answer, especially in math. What's the answer? Literal equations, we were talking about that last night. It's where you have a kind of a complicated, usually a physics equation, and you change it around to get one of the other variables by itself. It's not really an answer, it's just moving things around. And they get frustrated with that because they want the answer to be 2 or -7 or 15. And every once in a while, holy smokes, it's a fraction. But yes, sometimes it's a fraction. But with these literal equations, there's not really 7 or 2 or 15. We're just moving around getting the b by itself, or moving around and getting the z by itself. And we're doing the same steps, but it freaks them out. Because, well, what's the answer, Miss Long? Like, well, this is because we got the b by itself. Well, yeah, but what's the answer? And it really frustrates them to not have an answer. But it's good because it develops their brain. And if you say to them, look, there's not an answer. I just want you to think. I want you to practice digging around in your math toolbox, figure out a tool or two that would be useful here, and see if you can make some progress. And there's not an answer. 3 minutes, go. You know, or whatever. You know, so I think that that's something that we can do. The inspirational clips and quotes, I do those all the time, and you had mentioned that even on the bottom of a test. That's a great idea, because sometimes they're stressed out, and sometimes they need that. And I had kids that come to my live session and say, Ms. Long, are you sharing a clip today? They're excited. They're not my clips. I go to YouTube. I borrow stuff. You know, there's lots of inspiration, and I try to keep them short because I have very little time live with my students. and then I post them on our threaded message board so they can go back and refer to it. But it's interesting, the kids that really get that, I look back at their grades of their past classes and stuff, they struggle. And it motivates them that this is worthful, this is meaningful, I can do this. And they ask for it. Miss Long, I really like that quote. And then we usually take just a minute or two to debrief from the clip. Why did I show that to you today? What does that have to do with what we're fixing to talk about? And it's interesting to hear their responses. But that is and it seems like a cheesy thing. And when I started doing it, I'm like, they're not going to want to do this. This is such a waste of my lifetime. But I have found that it engages them. It helps them see who I am. And that I agree that I struggle too. When I was doing my master's, I shared my struggles, that I was up late at night and that, oh my gosh, this paper is so big. And they were like, oh no, I've got a 10-page research paper. So it was like I was a student with them. And they appreciated to see that I was struggling too, I'm not just giving this to them, that I say it to myself. And I tell them, guys, I get lost in these clips sometimes looking for stuff to share with you, because sometimes I'm like, I need it, I'm dry, I'm empty. I'm so dry. I'm so discouraged. And I think that it inspires them to know that adults get that way too. And then next one. Oh, my quote. Y'all like my quote? I dreamed that up. I was so proud of myself. It's on if you email me or email you back, it's on my tagline. And I don't even know where it came from. I was just like looking through that stuff and I was just like, I was just having a day. I'm like, Carmen, you got to get it together, girl. I'm like, Carmen, you got to make your actions today get you where you want to be. And I was like, oh, that's a great quote. I should fix that up a little bit. And so this is my original quote. And it's something that I'm like, and I have some lifelong dreams. And starting to present at places and getting people to listen to me to see, do I have something to say that's meaningful? Is like a baby step toward what some of my life are, but I've got to do it. And I've got to do the baby steps today to accomplish what I want to accomplish in the future. And just like my students need to remember, are you practicing today? So that you can pass that test tomorrow, so that you can pass this class, so that you can graduate from high school, so that you can go to whatever training program you want to go to, so that you can accomplish and you can move out of your mommy and daddy's house and be your own person. That's the goal. So it's like, I love my quote. And I share it sometimes with my students, like, yeah, we know, it's long, whatever. All right, so I think that's it. So that's my little comment, and I do not have any personal research about this particular thing. I have borrowed. I've been inspired by, I've been encouraged by, I have been excited by some research that I have read, and it supports my lifelong educational philosophy that I have spouted to my students for years and years, and now I know that there's research behind it. I feel like I can share it with other peers and other academias and teachers and teacher professors and that sort of thing. So I'm very excited to be here, and I appreciate y'all's time. Feel free, comments, questions. We do have a few minutes, but only about 5 or 6, so I know if everybody needs a bathroom break and stuff before the 11 o'clock session. That's what I have to share.
I do social studies, and a lot of times what I'll do to try to get things going, or ask, even I do this on tests, give me your opinion of so-and-so. And again, it's not right or wrong.
Right.
But it's the only reason that they would fail it is if they just don't respond.
Do you get a non-response often? Because we get that a lot.
I do.
Yeah. I don't even have a way to put that together. Like, I have no reply to you. Isn't that so sad? It's so sad. So sad.
Do you have an opportunity to learn about and help children with their learning styles? Because as I'm listening to you, that's what I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. And they have to have, alternative ways to learn.
Yes.
Yes. Whatever material.
Right. We, as a virtual teacher, where our job is very different. Mm-hmm. I am not information giver. They have content that they go through, and then they meet with us. We make connections. We answer questions. We help bridge understanding. We give clarification. If we see a student that content is not working, we have other resources we can pull in that are more tactile or more, whatever their learning style is. And in the course that is given to me, I did not develop it, they have reflection items, and some of the reflection items are, giving them information about learning styles and saying, okay, from what you do, what kind of learning styles? And so I get some, now a lot of them leave it blank, but I get some insight, and then if I see something in those reflections that I'm like, okay, I know this kid is not getting what they need, then I can go ahead and jump on that and get them some other resources. So we do have a lot available, and in our environment, we can make it very individual. So in the classroom, I think it's a little bit harder. It's still possible, but I think, when you've got 30 or 40 people standing in front of you in 50 minutes, or however long your class period is, it is a little harder. But I could get on the phone with a student, and I can say, okay, this is not working. I had a student one time that we had to do some very alternative approach with, and we did, and he was successful with it. So yes, that definitely would apply to this for sure. And sometimes they don't know their learning style, so getting them to get there takes a little bit of work. Yeah.
I just want to put that with Dr. Lee, giving that opinion certainly opens an either or
Right.
response as long as you can support that opinion with that. But, for that struggling learner, they're never going to be the shining star in the beginning for sure. Maybe in the end. So, I kind of look at Collins when he says give that short-term win, some kind of recognition.
Everybody gets a gold star for something. Right.
And
Right.
in lower elementary grades, there's a moment where they've hit some kind of success. So, you might take that lowest student and walk them up to the principal's office and let them shine.
Yeah.
And our principal does that quite a bit. She does this beautiful star because
Yeah.
that's a wonderful handwritten note. Of course, they love that in the classroom.
Just
It's like
pointing,
that,
yeah.
You can star for the moment.
Yeah.
How do you get a note from the principal and is good at that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't go for a bad moment up there. And it's like, it just transforms them into that motivation of perseverance. And it's like, we talk about nonsense, but we talk about bring on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to know it so well. I'm not going to do it today, but it's
Right.
like bring on. Bring on the test. And, and it's like the worst student in the class passes.
You're like, yes. Yeah. You celebrate with them.
Study. What did you do?
Yeah. Exactly. I
And
have.
then all of a sudden, it's just like you've created this change agent in the class.
Mhm.
We talk about adults being change agents, which you've got that one child.
Right.
Saying everything you want to have to.
Yeah. I have, one of my stories is I had a student who worked, wouldn't pass. I got her to a 74 on something. She was like, Miss Long, I passed. I'm like, you print that out and you put that on the refrigerator. I'm sending you a gold star. That is success for you, because every other test to that point you had a 40 or a 50. You got a 74. Now somebody who can make an A, you should be ashamed, right? I mean, we got to help them understand that their success path may look different than their peers. What was that quote that we heard somewhere? Comparison steals joy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, we can't compare. My path is different than your path, and every student, right? You're going to get there if you don't quit, and it may look different, but we got to find a way to celebrate everybody. Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, I appreciate y'all coming. I'm so worried nobody's going to come. Do you want to close that and stop that recording that's on there? We'll see how it turned out. That was just good timing. It wasn't rushed.
I don't think you picked up on, because you were like off the side.
Oh, that's okay.
You probably didn't pick up on the.
Yeah.
That's in terms of card?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a high school
Email
teacher.
address.
I don't know.
She does have an email
My
address.
email? I'll be glad to give you my email. I should get cards.
You should.
Yeah.
if you're presenting.
Well, I should, and I've actually just got notification that I've got accepted to present at the student rep conference. I'm very excited about that. Excited. You weren't ready here?
Yeah.
But
Do your best.
It's like, and I tell my students, you know, it's getting sloppy, but just don't make fun. And they all laugh like, but when you get rolling on, they're like, oh, my memory's bad too.